Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about that snowstorm we've been talking about for the last few days, but today we're talking about the northeastern portion of that storm. We're going to go over our surface map here, then simulated radar, and then also our total snowfall map at the end of this video, which will be super exciting. But before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this with your friends and family if they live in the affected regions or if you think they'll find it useful or interesting. Now let's get right into things. We're looking first off at our little surface map here, which depicts kind of what we're expecting as far as precipitation type, as well as the expected track of the low pressure system. You can see we expect it to track from Kentucky through Northern Virginia and out through New Jersey, and then goes kind of underneath southern New England, and it brings some mixed and snowy precipitation to a lot of these regions. So first off, on this layer we have some snowfall for the lighter blue regions. You know, it could be heavier in some areas. We could be getting 3 to 6 inches in some areas, but I don't expect any 6 to 10 inch amounts to pop out of this light blue region. Let's add our second layer here, which is going to be the most snowfall region from Buffalo, Syracuse through Albany, Portland, and near Burlington, as well as near Boston as well. These areas are expected to get the most snowfall and potentially 6 to 10 inches in some areas. Now our third and final layer here is our mixed mess region, which is the purple region. Not to say you can't even get a lot of snowfall in this region. It's going to be very tricky to forecast the snowfall in this region because we're going to see rain in some areas, snow in some areas, icy mix in some areas. It's just going to be a complete mess, but we'll see in my total snowfall forecast what I'm expecting. Now we're about to get into our simulated radar. We're going to be using the GEM model today, and that's going to be super exciting to see the timing of when you could expect to see snow. Alright, so on our first frame here, we can see snow starting to enter Indiana. This is by time we're into Sunday night, heading into Monday. Let's add another frame here. And you can see heavier snow enters Indiana, Ohio, kind of in the southern portions, but that's going to kind of head north, that rain snow line, very far north actually, very quickly as we progress here. But the front end snow, here's the difficult part. So on front end snow, we're not really going to see, and by front end, by the way, I mean snow and then changing over to rain. As we all know that live in areas that receive snow, if it rains after it snows, that's going to melt all the snow. But if you get back end snow, which is snow after the rain, that's a big difference because you could be seeing that snow accumulate. If it snows enough, even if it's wet, it'll eventually start to accumulate. So that's the difference between front end and back end snow. Obviously, some areas get all snow, which would be even better, but yeah. Let's move on to Monday morning around 9 a.m. time frame. This is going to be December 16th. We see some lighter to moderate snow going on now for central and northern Ohio and Indiana, as well as the southern areas of Pennsylvania, in some of those mountainous regions of West Virginia and Maryland as well. We're getting moderate snowfall. Again, we see that rain snow line already progressing and becoming further and further north, with that front end snow stopping, obviously, and probably melting if you get enough rain over top of it, which I know is irritating for a lot of you snow lovers. Now we're about to get into Monday afternoon and evening time, where we're going to start to see this storm really begin to develop, and we're going to get a bigger picture of what to expect with this storm for sure. Alright, and this is by Monday, maybe afternoon time, and we see that rain snow line once again making a big tick north. We see a lot of those pinks and purple showing up, and that's again that mixed mess that I was talking about in the beginning of the video. That is going to be a very, very messy situation for a lot of folks because it's just hard to determine, you know. Some areas might get more snow, some areas might get more ice, and more areas might get rain as well, and that just really creates a lot of confusion, and that's one of the biggest problems with forecasting winter storms, because a lot of people could get a lot more snow than expected, and a lot of people can get a lot less snow than expected if we start to see some of those pinks showing up, and it just makes everything very, very difficult, believe me. Now, let's move on towards the Monday evening, heading into Tuesday. This is probably going to be 8 p.m. on Monday, December 16th, though. And we see some lighter to moderate snow entering areas in Michigan. They're looking to overperform from what I was originally expecting with this one. Ohio, we see even Cleveland becoming all rain by this point, but the more northwestern regions of Ohio were still all snow. Pennsylvania, we see that pink and purple colors taking over completely. Only all snow for the very, very far northern areas in Pennsylvania. New York City, you're maybe snow by this point. Long Island is for sure, but maybe the areas on the northern end of New York City. are all snow. You're right by that mix line, nevertheless. Northern New Jersey as well, we're all snow by this point, with some mixed areas to the west. Let's move on towards the middle of the night Tuesday. And again, that mixed line is still ticking onward, northward, and that's just really going to create a lot of issues, like I've stated before with the forecasting for this one. We see moderate snow going on for upstate New York, into the Finger Lakes regions there in western New York. Massachusetts, we're all snow. Very far northern Connecticut and Rhode Island are all snow by this point. And Vermont and New Hampshire, obviously all snow, probably will stay all snow during the entirety of this storm. Now we're about to head on another frame where we're going to start to see New England receive major impacts from this system. We're going to start to see very heavy snow in some of these regions. In the areas that we're expecting to potentially see 6 inches to maybe even 10 inches in some of these regions. So this is going to be probably the most impacted region in the northeastern United States by this storm. Alright, and as you can see, we do have some of those pinks and purples showing up for Massachusetts, Connecticut, and some of the areas in central New York. But as we head northward into New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, upstate New York, that's where we see the all snow. And just to the north of the pink, so I think just to the north of the mixing area, is where we're going to see the most accumulation probably. Usually the heaviest of the precipitation is closer to the low pressure system, obviously, and usually the mix line is closer to the low pressure system as well. So it really depends where that sets up for sure. This is by Tuesday morning, by the way, around 9 a.m. I would say. We're going to move on another frame and it starts to really become a lot more light. We do see Maine and New Hampshire and Vermont still receiving snowfall, but it's pretty much said and done. And actually after this frame, the storm is entirely done with, so I don't even show that frame, but this is the last frame where we see snow for the northeastern United States, and that's by Tuesday afternoon. Things will be wrapping up. That's going to be December 17th. Now, let's look at your modeled snowfall forecast here for you guys, which is going to be very exciting to see here. First things first, we're starting with the GEM or Canadian model, and this is total snowfall. We are going to see some lake effect snow begin for Pennsylvania and New York before this storm, so that is taken into account here. So those amounts are definitely inflated for sure. We do see a general 3 to 6 inches of snow in most of those purplish colors, and then in the pink colors, that's where we're looking at about 6 to 10 inches of snow. Now we're about to get into your GFS model, European model, and then our total snowfall that we're forecasting from direct weather, which is going to be extremely exciting to take a look at. We're expecting, like I said, some areas to get 6 to 10 inches of snow. To find out where, stay tuned to the end of the video. Alright, so here on the GFS model, we do see similar areas receive some of those pink amounts, obviously in the lake effect regions. Like I said, those are kind of inflated, but we do see actually central New England, I would call it, or maybe northern New England there. So the southern regions of Vermont and New Hampshire, and kind of extending into the Maine areas. Now, these areas are expected to see 6 to 10 inches of snow on this model. I think the GFS is overdoing it for a lot of these northern areas and maybe underdoing it a little bit for more of the southern areas. Now, here's your European model, and on the European model, I was able to only do the 4-day accumulated snowfall, so this one isn't taking into account that lake effect snow that happens beforehand. So this is actually just our snowfall from the storm, and this is the European ensemble model, actually, which is going to be more accurate, but maybe underdo it for some areas, and it doesn't really have a 6 to 10 inch area, but I will in my forecast, like I said, but I think that this has a really good idea of kind of the mixed precipitation and where we're actually expected to see accumulation. I really actually like the way this model is showing the storm. Now let's get into my official snowfall forecast, which is going to be extremely exciting, like I said before. We're starting things out with our dusting to 3-inch layer. Areas like Cleveland, Buffalo, Syracuse, Albany, Boston, and just to the north of New York City are going to be seeing a dusting to 3 inches of snow. I think New York City is just a little bit too warm and it's just going to be too much rain and you won't really come out with any accumulation. Same story for Philadelphia, Baltimore, DC, and even areas to just near Providence, maybe to the south of Providence, but southern New England near the coast. I don't really think you'll come out with any accumulations, but Boston, I think you at least get a dusting for sure. Let's add our 3 to 6 inch layer here, which you can see is in Cleveland, Buffalo, Syracuse, Albany, Burlington, Portland, and maybe Boston is right on the line there of 3 to 6 inches of snow. So you're probably on the upper end of that dusting to 3-inch layer for sure. And our last and final layer, we do have some areas that I'm expecting to potentially hit over 6 to 10 inches of snow. One there for the southern Green Mountains and maybe the Berkshires as well. That's a high elevation area that so far this winter we've seen kind of overperform in systems like this. So I think that for sure you have a pretty good chance at seeing over 6 inches of snow for that region. And also areas in Syracuse and maybe just to the northeast of Syracuse, including areas near Watertown and stuff like that. That's areas that I expect will get lake enhanced, obviously. So we will see potentially the heaviest amounts of snow for this region as well. Anyway, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Again, be sure to share this with your friends and family if they are going to be impacted by this storm in any way. Obviously, I'd love for them to be able to see the video and be well informed. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.